welcome all. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you, Dominica. Good morning to the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Yes, it's this other Tuesday, yet another Tuesday, and we are back here in the studios of DBS Radio. My name is Carlisle JnoBaptiste. I am the Communications Officer at the Office of Disaster Management, and every Tuesday we bring you various programs as it relates to disaster management. Remember, the Office of Disaster Management is committed to taking proactive and timely measures to prevent or reduce the impact of disasters on the Dominican people and economy through its efficient staff and collaborative efforts with national and regional agencies. And you know the national and regional agencies, what they are. We have the police, the fire, health, welfare, forestry, solid waste, meteorology, YAC, and regional SIDEMA in Barbados, SRC in Trinidad and Tobago. And also we have our international agencies. Today we are going to have three guests in studios with me. They will introduce themselves. I think we are expecting one other person. We are expecting Sergeant of Police David Andrew Jr. who will join us in a short while. But let me say good morning to my two other guests in studio. They will introduce themselves to you and we will get our discussions rolling. Good morning to you two beautiful ladies in studio.
Good morning, Carlisle.
Good morning. Why, thank you, Carlisle. My name is Farah Rocaria. Obviously, I'm from the Dominican Med Service. As you mentioned, I've been employed there for over 20 years, but presently I am an instrument technician, and I have with me my co-worker.
My name is Asha Bryan. I am also from the Dominican Met Office and the part of the instruments team as well. I have been at the Met Office for 15 years.
That's a long time. 15 and 20, that's what, 35, I think. My math is very good. So
it's correct. It's more than a lifetime.
That
combined.
is correct. So we have very experienced people here with us in studio, and Sergeant Andrew will join us again, as I said, and also he will speak on various situations as it relates to the law when it comes to that. So you all deal with instruments. Tell us what instruments is all about.
Okay, great. So we can probably start with what exactly Met officers do.
Yes. And then we will get into yes.
Exactly.
Thank you.
No problem. So at the Dominican Med Service, we have 3 stations, 2 of which are at the airports. So we have a station at the Canefield Airport. We also have one at the Douglas Charles Airport, and we have an office specifically at JMIT. At the stations, which I mentioned, Canefield and Douglas Charles, we do what we call observations, routine observations, and this is a combination of visual observations and also observations from the assistance of automatic weather stations and also instruments. So what I should say is routine observations, which are done every hour. An observer will go out. They will take the state, they will observe the state of the sky, and that will include things like the cloud type, cloud amount, visibility. And like I said, this is done visually. But then there are other aspects of the weather that we cannot do. We cannot estimate with just our eyes. We need something to help us. Just like a carpenter needs his measuring tape to know how long something is, we need instruments to tell us how hot or how cold something is, the speed of something. So therefore, we would use instruments to help us determine the wind direction, the wind speed, the temperature, dew point, and barometer. And there are other aspects, but for aviation purposes, these are the things that we focus on. So for the wind direction, we rely on the wind, well, I don't want to say wind vane. In school, they teach us wind vane.
Right.
Wind vane, okay.
It have multiple instruments for different aspects of the wind.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you have the wind vane, which would give you the wind direction, and then we have the anemometer, which would give us the wind speed.
Okay, hold that thought a little. Sergeant Andrew is now with us. Let me say good morning to him. And Sergeant Andrew is going to deal with the criminal aspects of those equipments, because there are persons out there who at times go out and destroy those equipment. So from the legal standpoint, as it relates to the police, Sergeant Andrew will deal with that. Sergeant Andrew, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the listeners of DBS Radio, the nation station.
Thank you very much.
That's a nice welcome.
Yes, indeed, short and sweet. Yes, Farah, you were saying, Anasha.
So yeah, we were saying that we have different instruments, not just the wind vane for the winds, but we have the wind vane for the direction and the anemometer for the speed.
You also mentioned the areas that most of those equipments are stationed. Is that how do you go about putting those equipments and knowing where to have them stationed?
Oh, well, that is. Should we go into. Let's leave that for little
Later?
Later down.
Right.
Let me just finish up because I want to differentiate observations for aviation purposes. And
Okay.
then we have, yes. So I was saying that the stations at Canefield and Douglas Charles is for the primary purpose is for aviation purposes, and I was explaining the different elements of the weather that we observe, and we were mentioning the instruments that we use for that. So for the temperature and the dew point, we would use thermometers. We have mercury thermometers. We also have the automatic weather station with electronic sensors that also give that as well. And for the atmospheric pressure, we have barometers, which is another manual instrument, but we also have electronic barometers in the automatic weather station as well. So for aviation purposes, the observers observe or do their reports around these elements at the stations, but we also have stations around the island that measure or sample different types of weather or hydrometeorological elements as well, which we can get into now.
Right, because there are times when I listen to the weather report, you will hear someone says that the amount of rainfall at the Douglas Charles Airport or at the Canefield Airport, etc. And sometimes I ask myself, but wait a while, how do they go about getting out there to measure the amount of rainfall and can give that to you in such precise?
Well, I'm happy you bring that up, Carlisle, because I forgot to mention that. They also measure rainfall at the stations as well, but it's not done every hour. The rainfall is measured every 6 hours. So, yes.
Yeah, and at we have what we call we have two types of rain gauges. We have the manual rain gauge, which we primarily use, and there is also the electronic one, which is attached to the automatic weather stations that we have. So we use the manual rain gauge so we can get the information as to how much rainfall happened through the 6 hour period or for the day.
So that rainfall amount that you hear at the 7 o'clock broadcast would be what the observer at the various stations or Douglas Charles would have recorded or measured from the manual rain gauge. If, for instance, there's an event or you want a further breakdown of some sort, then we could go to the automatic weather station, which may give a smaller breakdown of what the rainfall was like over the time period. But when it comes to measuring the rainfall amount for a given 6 hour period, then that's done manually at the aviation stations. That would be namely Canefield and Douglas Charles.
So the question now is, do you collect that data, say the one from Douglas Charles and the one from the Canefield Airport? At what point in time would you be able to get all those data together? Say for the morning, say for 7 o'clock in the morning that you have a broadcast.
Oh, well, it's not that. The thing about everything is so methodological and everything is so standardized. There are set times that you do certain things. So I mentioned earlier that every 6 hours we measure the rainfall manually. So there are set times. Everywhere in the world do things according to a set standard and a set time. So that's why we operate on the Zulu or UTC time. So everyone does everything, I don't want to say synced, but in a standardized fashion. So the 6 hour periods are like the first time we will measure for the morning will be at 8 a.m. local time. And then we will measure again at 2 p.m. local time. and then there'll be another manual measurement at 8 p.m. local time. If we were 24-hour station, then there will be another measurement at 2 a.m. But then we are not yet functioning as a 24-hour station.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
Yes,
That's the standard for measuring rainfall. Well, the WMO standard.
Okay. Now, you have those instruments or those equipments at various locations. How difficult it is for you to maintain those equipments?
That's why I refer to Ash and I as the behind the scenes team.
being at the stations and at the set stations that we have, it's quite easy to get to. But then those are not the only stations that we have. We have various different stations around the island. So we have, like my colleague said, we have those we mentioned earlier were
Aviation based.
Yes.
But then now we go into the
Hydrometeorological, agricultural.
We have hydrometeorological, agricultural, full automatic weather stations, and all these are situated in different areas around the island. Some we have to climb up.
I know.
Oh, you know, Carlisle.
Some we have to be like, I consider it to be like mountain goats. Because we have certain areas you have to climb up. Sometimes you have, when we finish with dirty, some you have to go up rugged like tracks to get to. When you go in those areas, you have to be very careful because those areas don't have any cell service and all that. So it's kind of, getting to them can be challenging at times.
Because on Saturday we had an outreach program, and I went various areas. I went to Campbell, and I was told that some areas there are, because of course in terms of the water. So I was introduced to some areas also lower down the coast. As I traversed various parts, I was told, look, there's something there, there's something there, there's something there. I don't know if maybe you want to let the people know some of the areas, because one of the things also, that is why we have the police officers. Some people also at times tamper with them, and we know that that is an offense, and that is where I want to, just before you come in, I want the police officer to, maybe just touch on that just a little bit for the time being, because, some people think that certain equipments can be in areas and they will see it there and they will go and tamper with it, take off this and take this and take that. And I have been in quite a few times, and I have known where persons have been arrested and charged for tampering and stealing those equipments. So that is where I want to bring in Sergeant Andrew as it relates to that. Maybe just briefly, if you have the law with you, and maybe you can give us just a little synopsis as to the criminal aspect of that, Sarge.
So just 1 second, just to further clarify, just for the listeners, like we mentioned, we have aviation stations at the airport, and as Carlisle was saying, and my co-worker mentioned as well, we have several stations serving hydrometeorological and other purposes around the island. So just keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. Sarge.
Yes, let me just highlight a few of the areas which can also impact the service in which the Office of Disaster Management provides to the public. One must know those equipment are very, very important equipment. If they are damaged or if they are altered, it can impact the level of reading which you can give, and that might impact if there's an impending storm, or if there is a risk to aviation security, or any other disaster. So the members of the public must be cognizant of the importance of ensuring that those equipment, if you come near it, that you keep your distance, because at the end of the day you're not a professional. You will not know what to do to fix it. It's best if you see it is done or it's damaged by maybe some natural occurrence, that you contact the Office of Disaster Management. So just looking at one of the main offenses which we have seen when it deals with those instruments is malicious damage. Persons may see they might just damage it for sometime for no reason, just being mischievous. And malicious damage under the small charges, section 1049, section 42 of chapter 1049, says that malicious damage, any person who unlawfully and maliciously commits any damage, injury, or spoil to or upon any real or personal property whatsoever, the value of which, in the opinion of the magistrate, does not exceed, and it was amended so it's $10,000, and the penalty for that is you 2,000. Let me just get the exact, because I want the public to know how
Serious.
the matter is. You're liable to a fine of $2,500 and imprisonment for 1 year. So just look at it. You as an ordinary citizen tampering with those type of equipments, you could find yourself in serious trouble with the law and might be facing serious penalties and also jail time. So we must be very cautious and careful of our activities around those instruments when we come close to it, when we traverse in those areas where they are located. And based on what the colleagues of the ODM are saying, those equipments are the Met Office, sorry, those equipments are very far and they're very secluded. So to actually get to those equipment, you would have to take some level of effort. So I mean, it's not making sense to jeopardize your liberty just to create some level of inconvenience, not only to yourself because it will be impacting you, but also the general public. Another offense is setting fire to those equipments. Those we sometimes have seen that certain equipments have been set on fire, and that too has completely damaged those equipments.
That is serious.
And it is a serious offense, and one which is indictable offense under the Malicious Damage Act 1032. So any person who unlawfully or maliciously sets fire to any building other than those specified in section 226. I'll not go through everything because there's quite a few, but that would encompass if you have a building like the Met Office and they have equipment there, and you burn that equipment, you burn that building and the equipment get damaged, you would be charged under that section of law. And it is extremely serious. The fine, the penalty for that is 10 years imprisonment.
Wow.
10 years. So just think of your for doing that, your life would be set on hold for that period of time. So we have to be mindful of that as members of the public, and to ensure that the safety of those equipment is paramount.
Sarge, how often would you all get reports of persons from the Met Office, of persons tampering with or attempting to damage those equipments? How often would that happen?
Well, I can
Yes,
name
Farah,
a few.
Yes.
Well, we have multiple. It occurred multiple times at Londonderry Water Level Station.
Wow.
Solar panel was stolen.
Before we even get to the theft, let's speak about the vandalism,
Right.
or the tampering. So on multiple occasions, we've had tampering of the sensor arm, meaning that the arm on which the sensor is, people bend it, they turn the direction of the sensor, and then most recently, we've actually had theft, where someone stole the solar panel.
Wow.
And this, I want to ask the officer a question about in terms of the money, because you quoted at 10,000 something
Yes.
for the thing. I want to refer back to that because I want people to understand the cost of those things. To install that station, we looked at security measures. So in addition to installing the station, we had to invest in security measures. So someone was hired to build a security cage for the electronic components and
The solar panel.
also for the solar panel. They went with whatever tools and they cut through that and stole the solar panel. So in essence, that investment to a certain extent went down the drain because we invested to protect the solar panel and it was still stolen. Just in reference to the cost. Everything comes at a cost.
Yes.
Then we had complete theft of a water level station at Picard years ago. We had battery, solar panel, and some other components at Syndicate years ago. We had solar panel theft at De La Gommier. We had Debois where the whole station was stolen.
This is serious.
And the extent that people would go, like I was explaining in Londonderry, and then even at Debois, we put that station on the side of the bridge, the concrete bridge, the concrete bridge at Debois, right?
Yes.
Where somebody would not easily see it. They still stole it. People they used to vandalize the Coptol water level station. And then most recently, I recognize that people have been vandalizing the rain gauge at the Pegua station. And the list goes on.
And on.
But people need to understand that the equipment is very expensive, in the tens of thousands of dollars for a data logger. So this is why I wanted the officer to go over the cost of the issue, because one data logger is tens of thousands of EC dollars.
The expense is not just in the data logger, but in the installation.
Yes.
Time is money. So we have to get people to help assist us in certain areas. And when you vandalize, you have to source back those equipment to get them to the island is another expense again. So the vandalism comes at a cost, and it also causes downtime. So we lose information. We lose a lot of data when the equipment is down.
The officer mentioned it's an inconvenience, and I
Yes.
want to tell him inconvenience to who? Because I know it greatly inconveniences us.
And the state.
And
Everybody.
And the state.
Public,
Yes.
the public
It
too.
inconveniences
Yes.
us, the public, and the country.
I would say the country is at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
but it
very much.
severely inconveniences us because now we have to make sure that we go to the station and try to fix the
Fix it.
problem. Yes. And it's putting the country and the public at a disadvantage because data is being lost, and then
Yeah.
additional money have to be put in place to repair.
Because government would have
replace.
invested thousands of dollars to ensure that your department would have had that equipment, the equipment you would have needed. And for people to maliciously go out there and destroy that, Sarge, that is a serious cause for concern.
Yeah, I must say, and you mentioned about what commonly we see, as mentioned, the theft of the solar panels and the batteries for that. It seems to be a hot item. I believe a lot of the perpetrators are using it maybe at their homes or maybe on their farms or to do other illegal activities because it can grow. They use the solar lights to grow plants very quickly, other kind of a plant.
Of a kind of a plant.
Plants like marijuana. So that seems to be a very, and as I don't know if you notice, but a lot of our street lights too have been impacted by this. A lot of the lamp poles have been cut, and the batteries stolen, and the solar lights taken.
At the office of ODM also, the solar panels and the batteries were stolen also. Yeah. Can you imagine that?
So then people need to understand, or an example need to be made, because people probably think that there's no repercussions to such actions. Officer, I don't know what to say.
We have arrested persons for that. We have charged them, but I believe there are a lot more persons out there because there's so much and the extent of which it is being done. So there are a lot of other persons stealing those items, and theft you can be sentenced to up to 7 years in jail for theft. You understand?
But Farah and Asha, how often do you all make those reports to the police, who would then have the charge of investigating? Because the amount of things that I'm hearing, that this is a serious cause for concern.
Well, with every case of theft, we made police reports. Not much vandalism. So, for instance, the damage to the ring gauge, I wouldn't really bother with that. But if all the cases of theft, official police reports were made, but no one was caught. Which brings me to a very important point.
Yes.
I know we mentioned that there are stations all over the island, and Asha highlighted that we have some in really remote areas that sometimes we don't even have cell phone, cell service, etc. But there are stations along the roads.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, are there witnesses? Do people see? Because that was my question for the Londonderry situation. It's right there by the bridge.
Right by the playing field.
Didn't you all see somebody using an electronic device and cutting through metal to steal the solar panel? That's what I asked the police. Was there any witnesses? I don't know.
I would, even though it's by the road, it's sometimes those reports are very difficult because you would have to have an eyewitness seeing them taking that sort of action. Other than that, you would have to maybe conduct a search and get it on at their home, or in some other building which they own. Hence the difficulty if you do not have a witness to support your case.
Understood. Which is exactly what I was saying, that some of the stations are actually along the road, like Londonderry, Marcus Street, Daybars, those things. Though I know the limitations of investigation and so forth, but like you said, I was wondering, doesn't anybody see someone doing that? Are there no witnesses?
Well, maybe there are witnesses, but sometimes some persons are complicit to the crime.
That is correct.
Even if they did not commit the crime, they might be sympathizers to the culprit.
That is correct.
Yes, so you have to take that in mind. The level of cooperation from the public might be non-existent.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's why that's one of the challenges we had with site allocation, meaning choosing sites of various stations, because we have to continuously fight with, are we going to put the station there for the purpose of data collection versus is this a safe site?
So you fight in the general public?
Yes, when we do site visits, it takes a while because you have to say, okay, am I going to put this by the road? Does this make it safe that it's by the road, that it's more likely that someone would see somebody doing something? Exactly. Or do we hide it somewhere far where people are not tempted to?
They will still find
it. But yet still, both occasions we've got theft. So we don't know what to conclude right now. Like I said, Londonderry is right there by the playing field, right there by the bridge. We experienced theft. We hit Picard right up in the bush.
They still
theft. So I don't know. So this is a challenge. The public is posing, or the perpetrators rather, posing a serious challenge to us. We have to fight very hard for site allocation, considering those factors, when we want our primary focus to be the best site for data collection.
But surely there must be one or two persons who would be aware of who the perpetrators are.
That's exactly what I'm saying, Carlisle. At least for those near the roadsides, so by the bridges. That's what I was saying. Doesn't anybody see?
It may be a costly endeavor, but maybe in the best interest, it may be better to improve the lighting around the area, if there is, and put cameras. I mean, it might be a costly endeavor. You might say, who the camera is looking at, but because of how critical those instruments are, I think maybe it's necessary to put the cameras so at least you could see and have an idea who is doing that at that time. Because I can assure you, if you're in the heights, when that person take that item, nobody's gonna know. It might be a little easier on the closer to the main road, but in the heights, nobody would know.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a given. I don't expect the remote areas for anybody to see unless if somebody just happened to, intersect or pass. But I mean, the stations near the roads, those I was speaking to in reference to witnesses and so.
But aside from that, though, Carlisle, apart from the vandalism, aside from the theft, we have had some some people who have shown interest in like what we do. So there are times that we would be at a station and somebody will randomly come up to us and ask us what it is. We'll explain to them, and we'll ensure that we touch on the vandalism part.
That's important.
So that they can assist us. So we tell them, if you see something, say something.
Yeah, so in other words, it has not been all negative.
No, it has
We
not.
have gotten some positive
We have
reception
gotten-
from
yes,
the
we
public.
have.
They would even tell us, oh, I see somebody suspicious looking around, and I told them XYZ, don't touch it, whatever. So it hasn't been all negative, honestly. We have had some positive feedback from the public in relation to that as well. And I know there are people who are looking out.
Yes.
Okay, someone is asking me, what about the use of tail cameras for security of the equipment?
Sorry, what
Trail
camera?
cameras.
Trail cameras, yes.
Not familiar with that.
The trail cameras are basically cameras that can be placed in remote areas.
Right.
So you don't have to they can stay for a very long time.
Powered by.
They stored
Powered by you have solar power.
So
Okay.
there's some storage on the devices, yes,
And there's storage on
and
the
that's a
device.
very good point. We have to improve the security by any means that would ensure that those equipments are safeguarded. So if we have to put the cameras, we might just have to make the investment to ensure that those equipments are safe.
But
I agree, but we keep forgetting that everything comes at a cost.
I was just about to say
In
that.
total, we have 52 stations.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, two of which are at AV. So call it 50 outstations. Two are fixed at the aviation stations. That's the airports.
Well, we have one at Jimit as well, so
Well,
that's
yes.
safe. So, well, quote unquote safe.
Yeah.
So
But if you all were to put an estimate in terms of damage and theft and vandalism so far, what cost would you say in terms of the damage and theft so far over maybe the last 2 years, if I may put it that way, just mildly that way?
tens of thousands, tens of thousands, because like I mentioned, one data logger is like 10,000 EC dollars. It's not always a data logger. You have other components and so, but it's definitely in the tens of thousands.
Okay, let me just get back to you in a little while. We are here today, Disaster and You, the Office of Disaster Management, as I said, is committed to taking proactive and timely measures to prevent or reduce the impact of disasters on the Dominican people and the economy through its efficient staff and collaborative efforts with national and regional and international agencies. And today we have persons from the Met Office and of course the police that we are working hand in hand with. And as you heard earlier on, the office of the meteorological office, they are fighting with the public, really fighting. They are begging persons who are, going out there and damaging and tampering with sensitive equipment. We are asking you to cease and desist from that immediately. It is costing the state thousands of dollars. It is also not helping you. It is not helping me. It is making their job much, much more difficult. And the work that they have, that they have to monitor, certain things that are happening in the country. And when you go and you tamper with those equipments, when you steal them, when you follow them, we have to say it as it is. Because this is serious. This is serious. People going out there and, some time ago I was in court and someone was arrested for the theft of, I think, 4 solar panel property of the government of Dominica. I mean, tell me, why do you do that? You are hurting the state. You are hurting yourself because you're going to get a conviction. You'll be locked up. Sergeant Andrew would unfortunately have to lock you up, or his men and women. And I mean, that is not what anybody wants to do. But when you go out there and you do that, tell me, what profit are you getting from that?
And probably some of them, I don't think I'll be shooting myself in the foot saying
You will
that.
not.
Probably some of them don't really truly understand the importance or the role that this equipment play.
That is why we are here today.
Exactly, that's what I was coming to. So that's why we're on your program here. And I guess we'll do other outreach.
Definitely.
Or public relations. I don't say events, but
Well, public
outreach. Yes.
Public relations outreach, yes.
So, for those who don't know, these stations that, especially those that are all over the island, they're supposed to be serving as part of an early warning hydrometeorological network. Let me try and break that down. So, like I mentioned, we have approximately 50 stations all around the island. That's a lot for small Dominica. There are many other islands in the Caribbean that don't have that many stations. So, it's a combination of stations. So, we have 4 full automatic weather stations. We have 22 rainfall only, and we have 10 water level stations. In combination, all this data being sampled, collected, transmitted, received, completes the system. So it's 2 years young. I want to emphasize 2 years young.
I like that part.
Yes. So what it's supposed to serve as, the name says it, early warning system. So when we collect enough data, we will be able to set thresholds. So for instance, we would know if X amount of rainfall has fallen in the heights in Monjon, that the river lower down will rise by that level, etc., and then setting thresholds, then we can make warnings. We can warn the public. We can tell them, oh, well, this amount of rainfall has fallen there. Is a possibility, with X amount of confidence, that the river might reach the bridge or block the road, or that settlement below will start to flood and whatever. Like I said, we're in the baby stages. We need to collect a little more data. But when the data is interrupted, or when it becomes questionable, and when there's so many gaps in the data, it's going to delay us from reaching where we need to reach, which is where I was explaining, where we set our thresholds and so forth. So it is really there to save lives, most importantly to save lives, and also the data collection can assist in policy making for various departments and divisions. It's endless. I mean, there's tourism, there's agriculture, even the WASCO, because we monitor some rivers, the WASCO can benefit from our data collection. And the list goes on, forestry as well. So it was a multifaceted project, the DVRP project, and the public need to understand that they are going to benefit directly and indirectly from this.
They need to cease and desist from doing that damage to it, because I mean this is not helping us as a country, especially when you have to monitor disasters, and like you quite rightly said.
And interestingly, sometimes the same people who damage those equipments or steal those equipment are the same people who blame
invulnerable.
the Met Office.
Yes, exactly.
We was not alerted.
Exactly.
I know those people in the Met Office, they can't get it right. What is because of you, they can't get it right.
Exactly, and they have the people's equipment there.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they themselves in the same vulnerable settlement lower down.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a twofold situation where we're asking the public to assist us, and whilst we're asking the public to assist us, we do not expect the public to rob us. So we're asking you, the public, to assist us, and those of you who are out there who know of people who want to damage those equipment, steal them, please.
Call them, sell them to her.
Like my mother would say in Creole, si pani situé pani vole. So you purchase it, and Saj, I am sure you are aware also that purchasing stolen items carries a higher penalty than when you actually steal it, right?
Yes, handling stolen goods, that's an offense. If you handle it, if you receive it, if you sell it, that too is an offense. So it's not just you, the person actually going and take those items. If you receive them or if you sell them on behalf of the person or on behalf of yourself, that too is a serious offense, which is an indictable offense also.
You see, some people don't even know that, because some people think that when they purchase something from somebody, they purchase that from somebody, and oh no, I purchased it from Carlisle, but it was stolen. It was stolen. Did you ask Carlisle for the bill? Where did he purchase it? Not at all. I come with you to sell 2 solar panels. Where did I get those solar panels from? You have to question that. You should be questioning me.
And any reasonable person would know those items are stolen, because you would see they would have some level of wear and tear.
Yeah.
You would have seen that certain things was maybe damaged, wires was pulled, you know, so you would have an idea that those things didn't come from a new or from a box or in proper condition. You know, so the onus is on the individual to make sound judgment when purchasing those type of items.
But what now would you all, what Farah and Asha, I know it's a difficult task for you guys. You are working hard. You have to climb the mountains. You know.
Go down the valleys.
Go down the valleys, and your aim is to be as accurate as possible to bring the information to the general public, to bring the information to Dominicans on a whole.
But really, to be precise, it's really is to inspect, repair, service, maintain the instruments so that they can function properly and so that the data is reliable and accurate.
At what point, say, because I know you've spoken about having equipments in remote areas, but at what point would you generally know if and when an equipment would be vandalized, stolen, etc.? At what point would you generally get to find that out?
So we are very thankful for technology. A lot of our stations, especially those that are on the we got from under the DVRP project, has satellite transmission, so that we can monitor remotely. So we can monitor it from our office. I can monitor it right here to see if the station is working, if it's up and running, if anything. So if during monitoring we realize that, okay, this station has not transmitted in a while, we will know, okay, that something happened. Either the station, the battery is dead, or
somebody volley something.
Or
something happened.
Something has malfunctioned. So
like you just start
we
to
cannot
see
say, okay, we cannot just go and say, okay, it has been vandalized right away. We monitor it. When we see that there is an issue, and based on how long that issue has been, we visit the station to assess the situation, to troubleshoot and to see what that issue would be, so that we can correct it.
Like sometimes you would just see the battery level dropping.
Yeah.
Dropping.
So if
dropping.
in a case of if the battery level is dropping,
and then the station only works during the day.
Yeah, so we can see, okay, if the battery level is dropping, the station working only during the day, then we can know, okay, we need to change that battery. If the battery level is dropping throughout the day, we can say, okay, that solar panel is either faulty or it has been stolen.
But that takes a lot of energy from you guys, because probably you would be tasked with doing other things, and now you are tasked with having to go out there and troubleshoot and do all sorts of different things to find the problem in order to ensure that the work that you are doing is done in the proper and most professional manner to bring it out to the public.
Yeah, so no other way to say it, but it's annoying, because sometimes you have your schedule and you program yourself for the month or the week, and you say, this is what I'm going to do, X, Y, Z, and then ABC pops up and you have to attend to ABC. So then you have to push back X, Y, Z to another week. So it's annoying, and it's time consuming, and it really drains you of your energy. Sometimes it's demotivating, but then understanding the importance of the job, we still press on. But it does become annoying.
Sarge?
Yes.
Because I mean, this is really alarming and cause for serious concern. I'm hoping that the general public, as they listen to this program, they will take due notice of the fact that they are causing an annoyance to the Met Office and to the state at large, because this just cannot continue to happen.
So education is important for persons to know the importance of those devices, and also the severity of tampering with those devices, because some maybe of criminal intent, but some maybe just be maybe just, how could I say,
Troublesome.
yeah, troublesome, just
Idle.
misbehaving, idle, that type of thing, and you could
You,
find
you,
yourself
you,
in serious trouble.
you believe that being troublesome or just being mischievous?
That's a mystery.
Well,
Well, yes,
Mischievous and
mischievous,
malicious.
malicious,
Yeah.
idle, all of the above.
And some people think that when they do that, they will say, "Oh, government has money, government will purchase." But wait a while, wait a while. You are hurting each and every one of us.
Exactly.
Well, every money is allocated towards repairing those damaged equipment is money that the government doesn't have to spend on other things that are more important.
Exactly.
And sometimes we make noise that government not doing enough on this, government not doing enough on that. But then when we destroy those things, the same government have to spend money to fix those items, and then it's less money to do other things which the public wants to be done. So they have to take that in mind.
I'm so happy to have you all there because, you know, before, I used to wonder, how you all find yourself up on those steep hills and to really monitor the situations. And now that I'm getting all that feedback, and I'm also hearing that the struggles that you guys have to go through with the maliciousness of people, the vindictiveness of some of them, it's mind-boggling. It's really mind-boggling.
Yes, because that network, those stations are serving Dominicans. So when they think it's government thing, it's you it's serving.
Exactly.
It's put there to protect the people as part of an early warning system. So they're hurting themselves, not the government.
We have just about 4.5 minutes left. Time runs so fast.
Yeah.
We have to be back. We have to be back. And I know also that there are also other issues that you all are confronted with, or other equipments that we need to speak about, or the departments that we need to speak about. So we'll definitely be back for yet another program. But as we wrap up, we have another 4 minutes to go. You need to send some message and to the general public what you want to say to them to assist you and to make your work much more easier. Stop giving you hard work to do. Yes, you are working, you are professional in that field, but the things that you need to get the job done, they are tampering with it. What sort of message do you want to send to the general public? Who wants to start first? Asha or
Well,
Farah?
I think the last sentence that I said summed it up, that the network, the Hydromet network, the whole system of stations, etc., is serving them, not the government, not you, Carlisle, alone by yourself, but everybody in Dominica. It's part of the full DVRE project. That's disaster vulnerability reduction project that was launched in 2014. Like I said, it was multifaceted. There are other parts to it, but the part that relates to MET was the hydrometeorological network. And as I said, it's supposed to be functioning as an early warning system, early warning hydromet system to serve the people of Dominica. Not just as an early warning system, which is the primary concern, but also the data collected will aid in policy making and help us with the challenges of climate change, etc. So this is serving, I will say again, it's serving you, it's serving me, it's serving everybody, all departments, all divisions, the entire Dominican public. So it's not a government thing, it's a Dominican people thing. It belongs to you and I. It was just bought by, it was funded with Government of Dominica, World Bank, PPCR, whatever. But it's there to serve the people of Dominica for your benefit, to protect your lives, because we are so vulnerable. There are so many villages, communities, settlements that live in vulnerable areas. We saw what happened after the flood events, after Erica, after Maria, etc. So we should keep those things in mind. We're not hurting or we're not disadvantaging the government, but rather yourself, you and I, your friend, your mother, the whole of Dominica. That's what I would say.
Asha?
And to further compound what you said, you are your neighbor's keeper, basically. So when I say neighbor, I don't mean your direct neighbor, but you looking out for the equipment helps us and helps you. So if you see something, report it. You can call the Met Office. If you don't want to report to the police station, you can call the Met Office. We can report it as well. We can investigate to see what is the issue. If you notice, okay, something might be looking off, especially if you know you are close to one of the equipment, something might be looking off, something might be looking like, hey, that doesn't look too right. That's not how I saw it the other day. Let me let the people, the Met Office know, or let the police officers know, let the Office of Disaster Management know, that they can also let us know, so we can investigate and make sure that everything is up and running and top notch for your safety.
Saj, your final comments on the legal aspects and the criminality of what the people are doing?
Okay, let me just advise and warn the members of the public to respect the equipment of the Met Office, and by extension the disaster office. Let's be our brother's keeper. Let's look out for each other. Let's not engage in any activities that will cause Dominica and the state to be at a disadvantage. Any action will not only impact you, but will impact others. So let us, going forward, that you are properly educated today on these issues, and I would want to see better compliance so that Dominica can remain a more safe and secure environment.
Thank you so very much. Two beautiful ladies and the esteemed gentlemen. You know, it was so nice having you with me in the studios today. I look forward to you again sometime in the future, because I know there's a lot to talk about. Just to remind our listeners that next week we have the Early Warning System Designer Challenge hosted by the Office of Disaster Management for the second year. We will be staging or hosting the students at the Dominica State College. That is September 16th. There will be a competition, and we need to have them on board. So stay tuned for that next week. I will have some guests in studios with me again to touch on that and to deal with that. It was a pleasure again being here for yet another Tuesday in the studios of DBS Radio. Time flies so very quickly, especially when we have such educational programs on the radio. Again, it was a pleasure having you all with me. Join us next week, Tuesday, same time, 9:30 to 10:30 on DBS Radio. My name is Carlisle JnoBaptiste. I'm the Communications Officer of the Office of Disaster Management. This program brought to you through the kind compliments of the Office of Disaster Management. Until then, I'm saying goodbye.
For news, views, interviews, special events, music and entertainment, sad occasions, joyous moments, the events that shape our lives in Dominica, around the region and around the world. Listen to DBS Radio. Experience and professionalism. Your number one station.
They say size matters, but in radio, it's not just size, it's quality.